The richest people I know don't look rich at all. I'm talking about people who could buy a Ferrari, but they drive a 10-year-old Toyota, who could afford designer everything, but shop at regular stores, who have millions in the bank, but you'd never guess it from looking at them. The thing is, real wealth isn't about what people can see. It's about what's happening behind the scenes. The smart investments, the disciplined spending, the long-term thinking that most people never notice. If you're new here, hi, I'm Nischa. I'm a qualified accountant and a former investment banker. And through working in finance for over 9 years, I've learned to spot the habits that actually build wealth. And so in this video, I'm sharing 7 habits that quietly wealthy people live by. Habits that most people completely overlook, but make all the difference between looking rich and actually being rich. Let's dive in. Number 1, they automate everything. Quietly wealthy people are lazy in the best possible way. They don't sit there every month trying to remember to transfer money or debate whether they should invest this time. They set up their finances once and then forget about them. Every month, money automatically goes from their paycheck into savings, investments, and the bills. I started doing this a few years ago, and it's honestly been a game changer. On payday, before I even saw the money, automatically a chunk of my paycheck went towards my emergency fund until that was topped up. Then another chunk still goes to my investment account and my bills get paid automatically. It removes all the drama and the decision making from money. Because here's the thing, when you have to manually move money every month, there's always going to be that voice in your head saying, maybe I'll just invest next month instead. Or I really want that new jacket, so I'm going to prioritize that this month instead. Quietly wealthy people don't rely on willpower. They just make good financial decisions once and then let the systems do the work. Number 2, they focus on value over price. Quietly wealthy people have this weird relationship with spending. They're not cheap, but they're incredibly smart about how they're spending money and where that money goes. I see this all the time. They can spend $200 or more on a pair of boots that will last 10 years, but they won't spend $50 on trendy shoes that fall apart in 6 months. They'll buy a reliable car instead of financing a brand new one that loses half its value the moment they drive it off the lot. It's all about value instead of vanity. And as Warren Buffett once said, price is what you pay, value is what you get. They ask themselves, is this actually worth what I'm paying for? Instead of, can I afford this? Number 3, they focus on net worth, not income. Most people get obsessed with how much they earn, how much their top line number is. But quietly wealthy people, they care way more about how much they keep. And I learned this the hard way when I was working in investment banking. I was making good money, but I was also spending pretty much all of it in my first few years of work. Nice dinners, expensive clothes, you know the drill. I looked successful, but my net worth for the first few years was basically zero. Here's the thing, if you earn 100,000 and you spend all of it, and you have someone else earning 50,000 who saves and invests 15,000 of it, the second person is building real wealth. Quietly wealthy people track their net worth religiously. They know exactly what they own minus what they owe, and they focus on growing that number over time. By the way, if you want to start tracking this properly, I've created something that could be a complete game changer for you. It's called the Financial Wellbeing Toolkit. And basically, I've taken everything I learned helping wealthy clients grow their money when I was in investment banking, all the strategies and the systems that the top 1% actually use, and I've put it all into one toolkit that anyone can follow. It includes a 94-page workbook split into bite-sized sections that walks you through everything step by step, and then an accompanying dashboard with all the key calculations you need to track your progress and make the right calculations at the right time. By the time you're done, you have your own personalized financial plan. Every part of this toolkit is designed to help you nail the basics, build real wealth, and create a clear roadmap to turn your goals into reality faster and with way less stress. It's all the things that I use in my own personal finance. If you want to check it out, head to nischa.me/plan, or there's a link in the description below. Moving on to number 4 of the habits. They think in decades, not in months. Here's probably the biggest difference. Quietly wealthy people, they play a very different time game. While most people are stressed about this month's budget or next month's holiday, quietly wealthy people are thinking about where they want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years' time. They understand that compound interest is basically magic, but it only works if you give it time. They're happy to live modestly now because they know that every dollar they invest today could be worth 5 or 10 in the future. If you want to know more about how compound interest actually works, I've got a whole video here and I'll link that. I know it's really hard to think this way when you're young. When I was in my early 20s, 20 years felt like forever. But here's the thing, those 20 years are going to pass anyway. So you can either arrive at 45, 50 with a bunch of stuff you bought in your 20s, or you can arrive with enough money to do whatever you want. Quietly wealthy people choose the second option. Number 5, super important one. They have multiple income streams. This is arguably the most important one on the list. And I don't mean having multiple side hustles. I just mean putting your money into something that can generate a return for you in some way. Because relying on one income stream is very risky. Quietly wealthy people, they're not putting all their eggs in one basket. Maybe they have their main job, but they're also investing, whether it's getting rental income, dividends from investments, a small side business. It doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't have to be life-changing amount of money, but it adds up and slowly it will compound. Because the thing about multiple income streams is A, it gives you financial security. B, it means you're not relying on any one thing or any one person or one company for your financial peace of mind. And C, it gives you options. If something happens to your main job, you're not completely screwed. Plus, that extra money can go straight into building even more wealth. Quietly wealthy people are always looking for ways to make their money work harder for them. They understand that trading your time for money can only get you so far. Number 6, they avoid lifestyle inflation. This is a big one that is make it or break it, because most people get a raise and immediately start spending more. Quietly wealthy people, on the other hand, they get a raise and they pretend it never happened. I see this all the time. Someone gets promoted, suddenly they're eating out more, they're buying nicer clothes, they have a nicer watch, upgrading their apartment. Before they know it, that whole raise has completely been vanished away into the new things. Quietly wealthy people, for a very long time, make sure that their lifestyle stays pretty much the same, even as their income grows, until they reach a stage where they know it's okay and they have the money to upgrade massively should they want to. They might treat themselves occasionally, but they don't let their spending completely eat up their pay increase. So whenever you get a pay rise, think about committing a small percentage of that extra money on treating yourself. If you get a $200 monthly raise, you might spend $40 to upgrade one small thing in your life, but the remaining should go directly towards building your long-term wealth. You still get to enjoy some of that extra income, but you're not letting lifestyle inflation eat up all of your progress. Because every lifestyle upgrade is basically a permanent expense. Once you get used to spending more, it's really hard to go back. So just avoid that trap altogether. And number 7, they don't react, they respond. In the 2008 crisis, loads of high-flying investors, heavily indebted businesses, and people living way beyond their means were hit really hard. They had been spending like there's no tomorrow, taking silly risks that when stuff hit the fan, everything fell apart. But then there were the quietly wealthy people who simply adapted. They didn't panic sell or make any drastic moves. They just took a step back, looked at the bigger picture, cut unnecessary expenses, and in some cases picked up undervalued assets whilst everyone else was in a meltdown mode. The quietly wealthy had the flexibility, mentally, emotionally, and financially, to pivot when they needed, because they weren't in it to impress anyone. They were playing the long game, which gave them the headspace and the stability to come out even stronger on the other side of the recession. The quietly wealthy don't react, they intentionally respond. And that is it. 7 habits of the quietly wealthy people. If you like this video, you'll really enjoy this video right here, which is one of my most popular, why looking poor is important. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and you'll always be the first to watch my videos when they come out. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.